Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cannabis Tech Talks, your weekly source for news and insights at the intersection of cannabis and technology. Shout out to our title sponsor, PolyScience, for supporting this podcast and helping us bring you the latest developments in this exciting field. I'm Patricia Miller, executive editor with Cannabis in Tech Today. Joining me for this episode is Ethan Zohn, former competitor on several television series, including Survivor, Fear Factor, PitchMen, and The Amazing Race. Ethan is also a cancer survivor, and he started using cannabis to help deal with the symptoms associated with his cancer treatment. Now that he's been in remission for over a decade, he's using cannabis as a supplement to his fitness regimen. So let's dive in. All right, I'm here with Ethan Zohn, and I've been reading about your incredible history. You've been in the spotlight of reality TV for many years now. And I think it's interesting that Survivor is sort of a theme for your life, right? You've been through some real journeys.
Yeah, I think the word survivor is definitely a good word to describe me and some of the things that I've had to get through over the past many years of my life.
Yeah, well, you look so healthy and fit. Congratulations, twice in remission. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Um, so you started, what I've been reading about is that you started using cannabis as a treatment and recovery aid for some of the symptoms you were having through your cancer journey. When did you realize it would be kind of an important part of your medical experience?
Well, I'd love to just back up a little bit just to give
Yeah.
you full perspective on, the whole cannabis industry and where I came from and where I am today. So growing up a competitive soccer player, ended up playing professional, like I never touched cannabis. It was just never part of my life, not part of my daily routine. I mean, I think I tried it once, second semester of my senior year, like don't tell my mom, shh, be quiet.
Right.
Just I wanted to do something crazy before I graduated, right? So I never really touched the stuff, throughout my playing career. But once I stopped playing, and when I was 35 years old, I was diagnosed with a rare form of blood cancer called CD20 positive Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
Um, Trust me, I've never heard of it either, so don't worry about it. But at that time in my life, I had to go through like chemotherapy, radiation. I had to go through a bone marrow transplant.
Wow.
And while I was, in the shit, obviously I struggled with some of the kind of side effects of chemotherapy and radiation. And I was taking a lot of pills, prescribed pills to like get to bed every night. I was taking like Ativan for anxiety, Percocet for pain, Lunesta for sleep, Wellbutrin for mood. And then I'd like wake up in the morning and have to rip an Adderall just to get enough energy to go to the doctor to get more blood tests. So it's this
Mm.
like horrible, vicious, synthetic lifestyle I was living. And so I just looked for alternative ways to like make myself feel better. And obviously I knew about cannabis and I read the benefits of mostly nausea related. So I really wanted to get into it and try it because one, it's from the earth, right? Like nature is the world's pharmacy. And so I started using cannabis, but access to it was really disheartening. No one at my hospital could tell me about it. No nurse, oncologist, resident nurse, social worker. They weren't educated on cannabis, so I had to research that myself. Then I was like, literally on the streets of New York City, bald with chemo, mask, gloves, like talking to my drug dealer or a drug dealer, sorry. And they
Yeah.
sold all sorts of drugs, not just cannabis. And
Mm.
then I was worried about the mold and the what they were fertilizing it with. And here I am putting this in my body, doing an illegal activity on top of a stressful situation like cancer, just to make myself feel better.
Wow.
So putting that into perspective, once I, got into a decent routine, I never smoked it. The doctor suggested if I were to use it to ingest it through like a, cookie or vaporizing. So I got into the vaporizing thing. This is before like vape oils and before the industry. This is like 2009. And so yeah, at that moment, I was like, I feel so much better. I can sleep. I can eat. I'm a lot more fun to be around. That's for sure. My girlfriend at the time, my mom and brothers is like, I was a lot more nicer to be around. My mood was better. Everything you read about, it resonated with me. It felt better. I could wean myself off some of the meds I was taking and reduce some of the dosages of the other ones. Huge, right? Huge for me.
Hmm.
Height of the opioid crisis, I was just so afraid like I was going to fall into all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my first entryway into cannabis, using it from a medical perspective to mitigate the side effects of cancer treatments.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how it started. However, where I found the most success and the most benefit is after cancer. So, like, I went through cancer, survived, my cancer returned 20 months later. And obviously, getting the news that the cancer returned was like deflating,
Yeah.
exponentially more difficult than the first time around. And like, we talked about the word survivor. So like my dad died when I was 14 years old. He passed away of colorectal cancer. So like
Oh,
I feel like that's the first time where I became a true survivor, just like
mm.
recovering from that, managing all that stuff. So like my only connection to cancer was through my dad. So to me, cancer equaled death. So that's just always in the back of my mind. And so when I was diagnosed the first time, then the second time, and I'm running out of options, had the maximum dose of chemo radiation, I had to go on to get a second stem cell transplant using my brother Lee as the donor. So post cancer, when the doctors said, "All right, Ethan, you're in remission," and they sent me back home, and everyone disappears, and I got bags full of pills, and I'm just like plagued with like the dump trucks full of uncertainty, the invisible scars that needed healing. Like, what do you do as a young adult who's 35 years old? Like, am I going to find a job? Is the cancer going to come back? Did the chemo work? Can I find a wife? Am I going to have kids? Like health insurance, life insurance, all that stuff
Wow.
goes through your mind as a young adult. Like when you're pediatric, it's okay. Listen, and I sorry, I'm like, I'm just trying to, this is a long story, but like, in the cancer world, but pediatrics, they got their parents, they're taken care of. Older adults, they're already in a relationship. But as a young adult, going through cancer and surviving it, whole host of new concerns, issues. And I just got debilitating anxiety and fear to the point where I was just not living a life I was proud of. It was exhibiting itself in destructive ways. And so that's when I really got deep into CBD and cannabis, and a combination of the two to help manage my mental health issues post cancer. And
Wow.
so that's where I am today. I'm in remission for 10 years now, and cannabis is part of my daily routine.
That's so amazing. It's a complex journey, and I think one that a lot of people can relate to who have been in that situation, not able to access the medicine that they need, and dealing with. I appreciate that you brought up all these ancillary anxieties that are part of that. Now I'm doing something illegal, and how do I make sure that it's safe? These are big issues that I think are some of the most important to be tackled by regulation,
Yes.
the access to that. Um, so
Agreed.
now you're in recovery and you're using it as part of other aspects of your life. How is it part of your regimen now? Are you using
Well,
it for athletics?
yes. So like that's another fun, like it's a totally goes against my like what I grew up with. I grew up with cannabis is bad. It's a gateway drug. It's going to ruin your sports career. You're going to be a dropout druggie, all that stuff.
Mm.
I'm 48 years old right now. So you're going to put into perspective in the history of cannabis. So yeah, so I'm excited about the industry. I wanted to share my story. I wanted to try to help educate other folks who are in a similar situation, going through a similar thing that I was going through. So I approached True Leaf Cannabis, and with this cockamamie idea, I'm like, hey, what if I run the Boston Marathon while medicating on True Leaf products? And they're like, interesting, right? So I've always kept cannabis and sports separate. That's just, I don't know why, it's just been my thing. However, when I engaged in this new partnership with True Leaf as the brand ambassador for their in-house everyday wellness brand called Momenta, um, I had to like, I was almost like my own clinical trial. So I had to start experimenting a little bit to see how it would affect me. And, with dosage, timing, strain, ingestion methods, whether it's like a tincture, it's a patch, it's a balm, what all this stuff. So bottom line is, I enjoyed it. it helped me perform. I wouldn't say perform better, but a more pleasurable experience when training for a marathon. And so I developed an interesting routine where, I would do a pre, during, and post cannabis kind of regimen, I guess you can say. And I, trained with that, um, kind of analyzed how it affected my body. And then I could put the master plan into place when I actually ran the marathon in April, Boston Marathon in April.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. I think it was really neat. I mean, for me, it was mostly the recovery. I felt I had the biggest impact. So, post race, I was using like a THC infused pain cream. I was using an indica capsule to help calm me down a little bit. And those were kind of probably the most successful uses of it. I did use it while during the marathon, a low dose. I use a capsule again because I could run with it and it wouldn't like mess up. But my main thing these days are tinctures. So I'm a tincture guy. I use a CBD tincture every single day. I use a 1-to-1 ratio if thing needs something a little bit stronger or kind of closer toward the end of the evening, for my cannabis routine.
Do you think having all of these different ingestion options has helped you to create a more effective regimen?
100%. I mean, you nailed it. And especially with Momenta, I think if you're new to cannabis and you're looking for kind of a way to get in, I think Momenta is a great product, because they do have a whole host of ingestion methods. Like I said, they have tinctures, they have RSOs, they have capsules, they have pain creams, cooling gels. They're coming out with I think like a powder type product. And so for me, that encapsulated everything I needed in a cannabis product. So yes, because a lot of people think I got to smoke it. You don't have to smoke it. There are other incredible ways to, get THC into your body. And for me, I have tried vapes, definitely the vape oils, but for me, it's not my thing. However, I don't, I'm not judging people who do use vape, to get their THC, product. Because it's fast acting, it's got a short life, a half life, and it's in and out of your system a little bit quicker than if you were to do an edible or a tincture. So I understand that. But yeah, it's been really fun experimenting on myself. It's been really exciting working with Trulieve I mean, they're the largest multi-state operator in the US. I think it's 160 dispensaries in 11 states. They
Wow.
really focus on research, dosing, providing a high quality product that's consistent over time. And that was really important for me when engaging in any cannabis product or any cannabis brand, because I come at this from the medical perspective. I'm not really a recreational guy. I really do use this as a medicine. Like, yeah, I've
Mhm.
definitely gone overboard around a campfire with some friends and stuff, but most likely I'm looking at it more as a scientific kind of way to help me, versus taking other pills.
And what do you think people most often misunderstand about medical cannabis?
Um, I think I think folks think that medical cannabis is different than adult use cannabis. It's the
Hmm.
same, obviously. I think that's one thing people, um, uh, get confused about. The only difference I've found is like you get price discounts and there might be get higher dosage on the medical use products than the adult use. But their misconception is like you got to smoke it. That's one of the things, that you're going to get like so high you can't function. I think people come at it. There's a lot of history with the stoner culture and misconceptions on cannabis, like as just getting you totally messed up. And it's just always kind of been a recreational type narrative.
Mm.
However, coming at it from someone who is sick and someone who needs it for mental health issues, it's all about dosage, when you take it, this type you take it, how you take it. And so if you approach it with that perspective, I think it kind of erases the stigma that it's just like, hey, let's go get high and have fun. That this is really something that can help someone, whether you have social, like maybe you're a shy person and you don't have the confidence to go out and talk to people. Like maybe you're tired and you need a little bit of energy. Maybe you have severe anxiety and this helps calm it and let your brain settle a little bit. Maybe you're nauseous and you need it. Maybe you have pain. So there are a lot of different ways you can use cannabis that's going to take away some of the other pills you may be using. So if you're out there and you're trying stuff and it's just not working, maybe look to getting into medical cannabis as a way to help you in some way, shape, or form, because there are so many ways to use it, and it's very scientifically regulated, and there are ways you can kind of dial directly into kind of what you need to help yourself.
I love that. I like the idea of thinking about it more as a medicine cabinet herb. I mean, you can have it on hand to replace a variety of pills that you might currently have in your cabinet. So
100%.
I appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, people are going to the vitamin shop and they're getting melatonin, or they're getting reishi mushroom extract. They're getting all these different valerian root to calm you down.
Mm,
I see cannabis along those same lines. It's grown from the earth. Nature's the world's pharmacy. It's no different than any other herb or something that you grow outside, as long as you're using it in a responsible fashion.
yeah, well said. Tell me about what you're doing with the Safe Roots Foundation.
I'd love to. So I have a long history working in adolescent health. So I took my Survivor $1,000,000 and I donated it to start a charity called Grassroots Soccer. And we're an adolescent health organization that using soccer to teach kids to make smarter choices in life. We're in 60 countries. We've graduated 13 million kids from the program.
Wow,
Something we're incredibly proud of. This is our 20th year. 2022 is our 20th year of
that's
doing
awesome.
grassroots soccer. Yeah. So taking everything we learned from grassroots soccer and using sports to deliver health interventions, we're now taking that model and applying it to teenage drug misuse prevention. So, but our model is a little bit different, where I feel cannabis is good for public health, but I also feel if more kids start misusing cannabis and other drugs, it's bad for the kids, it's bad for the industry. So I feel the cannabis industry has a role to play in making sure kids don't misuse, cannabis. So
Yeah.
Safe Roots Foundation, we raise money from the legal cannabis industry, and then we then fund the best evidence-based teenage drug prevention programs around the country. So the war on drugs, not really working.
Yeah.
As we know, when I was growing up, they sent a cop into gym class like, this is coke, this is ecstasy, don't do it, you'll die.
Mhm.
Listen, we need to speak to kids in a language they understand, and I feel sports is that language. So we created a after school sport coach curriculum where it can be incorporated into any sport, any coach doing any type of practice, that will help identify kids who are misusing, some fun, game-based activities that can help these kids learn a little bit more about, the human body, the endocannabinoid system, how cannabis may impact you positively and negatively. These are kids we're talking about.
Mhm.
Um, and we need to reframe the conversation, because it's not a gateway drug. It's going to be legal nationally in the next 5 to 10 years. And so I think there's a really important role that the industry has to play, just like tobacco, anti-smoking, alcohol, drunk driving, Apple, anti-screen time, same thing, cannabis, don't freaking do drugs, kids, or if you do it in a responsible way. And that's kind of where Safe Roots Foundation, that's kind of our method and our methodology.
I think that's great. I think we need to change that narrative for kids and teens about, like you said, benefits and disadvantages, and how to approach these things responsibly and in an informed way. So I'm so excited that you're offering that.
Thank you. And I know this is cannabis and technology, but on the grassroots level, like there's nothing, I know it's not a technology, but our technology is using role models like sports coaches who these kids see on a daily basis. Some might go home to their, divorced parents, I don't know, their parents are working. These coaches are sometimes the people, the adult figure that these kids see on a daily basis. So now if we can arm these coaches with this with this technology of education about through sports to kind of help educate these kids, I think that's on the really grassroots. Maybe I'm stretching a little bit, but like that's the model, is like the human to human. We've lost a little bit about that. Is a kid going to take a drug course online? Maybe. Is it going to impact them? Probably not. Long term, like we've learned over time that kids model the behaviors of those people they respect. That's what we did at grassroots soccer. So we're doing the same thing here, using coaches to deliver important life messages.
I would imagine the coaches are thrilled to have that toolkit in their arsenal when they're spending more time with these kids than maybe a lot of other adults in their life, like you mentioned, and to have the language and resources to address what these kids are going through in real life. I'm sure they're thrilled to have that at their disposal.
Definitely. And there's a little bit of a mental health curriculum built in there as well, because I mean, I feel that, you know, the next pandemic or epidemic that we're going to face here in the US is adolescent mental health issues. You can already see it now. Suicide's up. Kids are struggling, especially in high school and college areas. So I think mental health is going to be huge. So how can we start young about educating about mental health? And that goes along with, if you have decent mental health, then you're going to make smarter decisions in life. And that includes making a decision whether you're going to use cannabis or not. And if you do use it, how are you going to do it? And protect yourself and be safe.
Well, what's next for you, Ethan? Have you got anything on the horizon you're super excited about?
Well, one of my dreams has become a reality. When I was in college, I went out and I was partying a little bit too hard. I came back home, got a giant bowl of cereal. I went to eat my bowl of cereal. I was watching TV. I fell asleep with the cereal on my chest. And I woke up and my cereal was soggy. I'm like, I hate soggy cereal. So what can I do to fix this? So I invented a cereal bowl that keeps your cereal crunchy all day long. It's called the Crunch Bowl. And so that's another big fun project of mine. So I launched it on Kickstarter, did incredibly well. Do I have one around here? Do you have a second? I can go grab it.
Sure, yeah.
All right. This is the Crunch Bowl. So if you imagine a swimming pool, swimming pool's got a shallow end and it's got a deep end. Same with the Crunch Bowl. You keep your cereal up top, you put your milk down below. And when you want a little crunch, you just tap it right over the edge. So I don't know if you can see that right there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also go for chips, dip, salad, dressing, soup, crackers, apple pie, ice cream. It's
love it.
It's stackable, right?
Yeah.
Stackable. It's got a non-slip grip. It's microwave safe, dishwasher safe, righty, lefty. It's got a spoon rest right here. It's a crunch wall. And then the best part about it is this. It's also a cell phone snack bowl.
I like that. All right.
And for this market, it's also the ultimate roll bowl. You keep your weed up top, you put your shake down below, and when you roll a joint, you just dry it on the crunch wall right there. So it's
There you go. Multi-purpose. Very cool.
But yeah, that's a little side project. But the one thing I do want to alert you to is I'm kind of involved with a company called Jot. It's DJOT, jot.com. And basically they are a how do they just exactly describe themselves? They would describe themselves. So Jot was designed to provide cannabis in formats that create ease, provide simplicity, and promote personalization. So basically what it is, it's about the size of a cell phone, and you can go to jot.com to check it out. The size of a cell phone, and it allows you to accurately dose any drink, salad, pizza, whatever, with a liquid form of THC, cannabis. So it's kind of the similar model as the packs, where they sell the technology and then they sell pods, and those pods any dispensary can fill with whatever they want, up to 1,000 milligrams, and it doses exact doses all the way down to 1 milligram.
Oh, wow.
So you jot your drink, you jot your salad, whatever you want to jot. DJOT is kind of how. So they're all about dosage, accurate dosing, and it's kind of a new technology in the cannabis space, which I think is really interesting because, you know, it's all about dosage. Yeah. I feel, and those folks who are daily users, you can take it everywhere. You can put it in any drink. and it's easy, accessible, and it's dosing like exactly. And their future is also into the psychedelic world. So when psychedelics gets a little bit more mainstream, to be able to accurately dose or microdose your psychedelics and your cannabis on a daily basis. So I'm working with those guys, trying to open up some doors for them. So I think it's a really neat technology. As a consumer, you can track your usage because it comes with an app. So when you're using it, how you're using, what's your strain, but then also the dispensary, they can also track usage. So from a business perspective, once a client or customer leaves the dispensary, you don't know anything about them. You know what they bought and how much they bought it. But other than that, you know nothing about them. Now, all of a sudden, you can start seeing trends on usage, time, strain, how much. And then cannabis companies can now start marketing a little bit better to their consumer, knowing their usage patterns. So pretty neat.
Interesting. Yeah. Where is that available right now?
Now it's brand new, but it's available in Canada. And they're fully funded, which is exciting. So it's not accurate. It's not widely used in the US yet, because it's literally, maybe, I think they got their FDA certification, I don't know, months ago. So we're just on the trajectory of trying to get more people to know about it. But if anyone's interested in learning more, just let me know.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, where can people go to follow along with you and kind of keep up with all of your projects?
Yeah. All of my projects would be at ethanzohn.com is a good at Ethan Zohn on Instagram, sorry. And then ethanzohn.com is my website.
Awesome. And you've got the entrepreneurial experience from the Crunch Bowl. Have you ever thought about maybe starting your own cannabis brand?
I have, and I have the most expensive logo in the world right now. About 5 years ago, I'm going to do this myself, and I spent a lot of money with do you know the company called Lowell Smokes or
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the people that did the branding for Lowell Smokes, and I think it's 1876 or 1906, that company, I hired them to make my brand called Tribute. However, it's now, so I do have big hopes of creating my own brand one day. However, now is probably not the right time. Before I got involved with True Leave, I'm an investor in a 116 hemp farm in Plainfield, Vermont called Mont Kush. I'm also the chief purpose officer there. And Mont Kush was exactly that. After cancer, before True Leave, I was working with Mont Kush because I really wanted, if I was going to put anything in my body, I wanted to actually see and be part of that. So I moved up to Vermont, and I planted, I seeded, I planted, I harvested, I processed, I put it in bottles because I wanted to see the process from start to finish. And we filmed the whole thing for a reality show called Kings of Kush. It aired on Vice a couple years ago. And so just to get the experience in the industry, so I feel like I really had a good piece of that, and it kind of educated me on the business and how much money it takes and time and effort. So I just didn't think I could do it myself. And then True Leave came along. So someday I will have my own product, I hope.
If you'd like to learn more about emerging cannabis technologies, be sure to like this podcast and subscribe to Cannabis Tech Talks. You can pick up the most recent issue of Cannabis and Tech Today on Barnes & Noble newsstands across the country, or grab a copy for free on canatechtoday.com. This podcast is produced in part by Pretty Easy Podcasts. Visit prettyeasypodcasts.com if you're looking for professional production quality at an affordable rate. Until next time, stay elevated.
Hey, hello, I'm Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong. Wait, you didn't think people would know who I am? Durachill. This is Durachill. This is Durachill. This is Durachill. No, I don't talk like that. You want me to sell this? Buy it. Try Durachill or else. If you want something really nice in your laboratory, buy Durachill. You can't go wrong.
This show was produced by Cannabis Tech Today and Pretty Easy Podcasts. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com now if you're looking to get professional production help on your own podcast at an affordable rate. Pretty Easy Podcasts, making podcasting pretty easy.